Starmer's welfare cuts will see 340,000 more people in poverty than previously predicted, a charity has warned. I'm going to read into this more from The Independent, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Independent with the headline that Keir Starmer's welfare cuts will see 340,000 more people in poverty than previously predicted, a charity has warned. So 340,000 more people in disabled households could face hunger and hardship by the end of the decade, a new report says. Now, guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And we've talked extensively here on this channel, for those who are new, about poverty, in particular child poverty, and the impact that is having right now, in particular here in England. Of course, this is still happening in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland respectively, but I wanted to talk specifically about here in England because where it's been hit the hardest and most. We have more, as we say, food banks than McDonald's, which quite frankly is disgraceful. People out there should not be relying on food banks. We should not have to rely on free food to get ourselves by. It's a failure of the state that people are in poverty, destitute poverty or homelessness. It is a failure of the government, whatever political party runs it. And we can discuss as much as we want to about the 14 years of Tory austerity. And you're right. What the Tories have done should never be forgotten. People should not forget that we have more poverty now than ever before because of the Conservatives. We have moved more food banks than ever before because of the Conservatives' austerity. We are in this situation a lot worse than ever before. Make no mistake about it. And yes, at the time of this recording, Labour have not had a full year in power. And yes, of course, this is one thing that people may not like. We have to see what this Labour government can do. And so far, there have been some changes that people have appealed to, and there have been some changes that Labour have not appealed to. With regards to welfare cuts, this one really does hit home. It really does hit hard, because I know friends and I know colleagues, people who are part of our community here, people that I've spoken to who are going through troubled times right now because of these potential welfare cuts. Some of them realising that they may not be able to get their payments once it runs out. For 340,000 more people. And here is the thing. We want to encourage people back into work and we want to help them to do so. The government has not put the money really enough aside to do it. And cutting them out of the welfare state does not help these people get back into work. There needs to be a balance. We want people to have a happy and productive life. For some people, they can't have that. So they are limited to what they can do. And the state is there to provide support for them when they cannot do it themselves. That is the whole point of a welfare system. It is there as an entitlement to people who really need it. Now, there is a small percentage of people who don't claim. If I wanted to, guys, I could not tell HMRC that I'm not a self-employed YouTuber. I could claim entitlements off the system if I wanted to. But I don't. Do you know why? It's because I don't need those entitlements personally, and I don't want to lie to HMRC about what I'm doing as well. I want them to know what I'm doing. But there are some people out there who are mischievous about it, and there is a small percentage of them. There's no question that there's a small percentage. However, the majority of people are actually people who need this, who need these entitlements, who need it to keep themselves going, and they are the ones who are going to suffer deeply. Trying to target a minority of people, but in doing so, you hurt a majority of people. And that is what it is when it comes to these welfare cuts, currently still standing by Keir Starmer and his Labour government. So the impacts of the government's welfare cuts are likely to push tens of thousands of people into poverty than previously expected, a major food bank charity has warned. Trussell said 340,000 more people in disabled households could face hunger and hardship by the end of the decade. Now, I just want to point out here, with regards to any food bank charities here, I want to make this absolutely clear. I absolutely and gratefully appreciate volunteers and the organisations behind these charities and the work that they do. I have absolutely nothing but compassion and gratefulness for what they do, because they help keep people alive. They help keep people fed. They help keep people going. And I cannot commend them enough for this work. I really, really cannot. However, it is supposed to be the job of the state providing the needs for these people, not food banks. Okay, let's be absolutely clear about that. I appreciate what these charities are doing, but it is the state's job to be doing it, not charities. Okay. It comes as more than 150 Labour MPs expressed concerns over the plans last month, which include a tightening of the eligibility criteria for personal independent payment, the main disability benefit in England, and cutting the sickness-related elements of universal credit UC. The proposals also include delaying access to the health element of UC to those aged 22 or over, and with the aim of reinvesting savings to support young people into work or training. The package of measures is aimed at reducing the number of working-age people on sickness benefits, and the government hopes that they can save $5 billion a year by the end of the decade. But it is understood that plans have sparked growing upset among both parliamentary private secretaries, PPSs, and even government ministers, who said they were said to be considering quitting if the government fails to water down its proposals. A government impact assessment published alongside the reforms warned that some 250,000 people, including 50,000 children, across England, Scotland and Wales, could fall into relative poverty as housing costs as a result of the changes. So this includes Scotland and Wales for reference as well. But Trussell said the impact is likely to be worse with its report based on analysis it commissioned by the public policy expert, the WEI Economics, claiming that overall that some 440,000 people in disabled households will be forced into severe hardship and risk of needing a food bank in 2029-2030 if the reforms go ahead. And reform banks, and there's a lot of banks already out there, and some food banks are already stretched as it is. And you shouldn't need to be stretched. We should be helping people back to work, not leaving people at the hands and the mercy of food banks. So it's very, very sad that, and we're talking about not just anybody, we're talking about people with disabilities here, we're talking about as well specifically. A planned rise in the basic rate of universal credit in 2029 should lift around 95,000 people out of severe hardship, Trussell said, leaving the total number affected closer to the 340,000 figure. One rounding of numbers and any movement of the poverty line in future years is accounted for. Trussell said it reports calculations are based on social merits. Commission a definition of severe hardship as being when people are more than 25% below the poverty line, saying this captures both people who are likely to need to turn to food banks now and those at high risk of needing support from one in the future. Helen Barner, Director Policy of Trussell, said that the calculations they have come to present at the worst picture than previously thought, because we have looked at how many people are going to be pulled not just into overall poverty but into the severest form of hardship. She said that's important because the lower your income, the worse your hardship, the more damaging it does. So the more likely you are not to be able to afford essentials like food, the worse the impact on your health, on your prospects. So the amount of damage that is being done is even worse than the government's impact assessment is even suggestive. She said that while the Trust supports the government's aims to reform employment and help more people into work, these proposals cuts will utterly undermine this goal, adding slashing support and damaging people's health will reduce their ability to engage in training and work. And this is exactly it. If you're cutting people out of the benefit entitlements, especially those who are working while also earning entitlements, you're only going to force them out of that work in the first place. And that benefits no one. It doesn't benefit anyone if you're pushing them out of, if you're taking off the entitlements, which some people's minds are saying, yeah, we got these people off the benefit system, thank God. Oh, wait, these people were actually part-time working as well, and now they can't work. So now they're not even, so they were contributing to society, they were doing something, they were working while also earning entitlements because the work they were doing weren't justifying the pay anyway. But now you've taken that job away from them. So not only have you taken that person's entitlements away, which has made things worse for them, but you're also taking someone away who could have been who is contributing to the economy as well. So yeah. The Joseph Rowntree Translation backed Trussell's calls for the government to rethink its disability benefits cuts, saying, this analysis shows they are likely to create more deep poverty and hardship than even the bleak forecast from the government's own limited assessments. Trussell is also calling on the government to bring forward the planned increase to the basic rate of universal credit so it comes into full effect from April 2026, instead of waiting until April 2029. It comes after more than 100 MPs, understood to comprise primarily from those who won their seats for the first time in 2024, last month signed a letter to Chief Whip warning that they are unable to support the proposals in the current form. It is understood that a separate letter signed by around 40 MPs was sent to Secure just days earlier, warning against proceeding with the changes in their full form. And by the way, this 100 MPs or 40 MPs is not going to buckle really anything. As long as Keir Starmer's got a majority, he's got 400 Labour MPs. He can ignore them. He can get enough MPs to come on side. The government spokesperson said that the government is determined to change people's lives for the better, helping them out of poverty and tackle the unacceptable rise in food bank dependence in recent years. We will never compromise on protecting people who need our support, and our reforms will mean that the social security system will always be there for those who will never be able to work, and that their income is protected. Well, the problem is that they are making changes currently to the personal independence system, the PIP, of how you will claim entitlements and what the threshold is. They're making that threshold higher. So therefore, you're actually, for those who actually need it, and they've had to jump through hoops and loads of hoops just to get the entitlements in the first place, you're essentially you're actually saying here that you'll always be there for those who are never able to work. But in actual fact, you're making it difficult for those who aren't able to work, even if they don't meet every single criteria that you're putting on there. Like this premise that some people have that you can simply walk in and claim entitlements, it's not. You have to jump through a huge amount of hoops to get entitlements, even whether you're somebody with disabilities or somebody perfectly healthy like me. Like, it is, you cannot just walk in and claim entitlements. It's not as simple as that. You have to go through assessments and all this malarkey. You have to meet certain thresholds. Like, it really is stressful. It's stressful for people. I cannot emphasize how difficult it is for people. There have been countless stories. People on my community have mentioned it time and time again on Discord and even in my YouTube chats. So it's for this premise that people have that it's very easy for people to get on the system. It's not. People have to go through hell to get onto it, and they go through that hell to get onto it because they have no other income for some of them because of the situation that they're in. Yes, I agree. The welfare reform needs reform. I agree with that. However, cutting the legs off people is not the answer. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this? What the charity's stating here, 340,000 people. Do we think it's actually worse, the numbers? Possibly. Let me know your thoughts and more on all of this down in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting or informative, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already, check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content, and if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, hit the join button down below to become a YouTube member. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.